It's early, it's very early. I left home just after 3:30 this morning because I wanted to get to Glencoe to shoot a small Lochan. And the reason I wanted to be here nice and early is the name of the Lochan. This is Lochan the Fola, and I wanted to try and get an image of the Lochan with a blood red sky beyond it. And the reason for that is Lochan the Fola means little loch of the blood. And I thought, what a great image. A blood red sky reflected in the loch of blood. Can we do it? No idea. There's not really an awful lot of cloud in the sky, as you can see, but there is some. So sun rises in about 20 minutes. So I'm just trying to find a composition that might allow me to make something of the reflections, but also these reeds in the sky. Now it's just a matter of waiting. Fingers crossed. We do have some little hints of what I hope is to come. Some pinks and reds are starting to form, and we also have them beginning to be reflected in the loch itself. So I'm going to have to be quick now, and I'll set up a composition. I've no idea what it's going to be yet, but I'll find one, hopefully, and I'll come back to you soon. This has got the potential to be epic. This is the composition I'm going to use. I'm using these foreground reeds and the last remnants of some bog cotton down there, up, leading the eye up to where I think the sun is going to rise, just over here. I've got a booklet of more here, and we're definitely starting to get some light and colour, in the clouds now. So I need to be quick here, but yeah, I think that's going to be the composition. Right, I've settled on the composition. It was a compromise, as always with these things, right? I had the choice. I could either get up a bit higher and make more of that leading line, but you kind of lost the long grasses in the background. So what I've done is I've kind of compromised. I've come down halfway, so you can still make out the leading line of the water going from one part of the loch into the next, but it allows us to include some of the grasses in the foreground, which was kind of catching my eye as well. The sun is very close to rising, and we still don't really have any hugely dramatic skies, but the first thing that I've noticed already is, because I'm shooting pretty much directly into the rising sun, the dynamic range is pretty horrendous. What I might actually do is, I've just noticed, I'm shooting down about here, but I've just noticed if I do get a little bit higher, I can still include these grasses down here, make more of that water, and have less of the sky, which might actually help the overall exposure. So before the sun comes up, I think the sun is actually going to breach the horizon in about 5 minutes now. So before the sun comes up, I might quickly change the camera position a little bit and see if we can make more. As you probably noticed in that shot there, my additional problem is it is quite dark still, and the main 82 road runs right there, which means that I run the risk of a car or a lorry or something appearing halfway through a shot and the headlights destroying the image. So there's a bit of luck involved in this as well, but I think I'm going to do it. I think now that I've looked at this through the video camera, I think I prefer that in terms of composition, because you do still have the reeds here, the grasses here, sorry, the leading line up, this other part of the loch, which I'm hoping is going to catch the sun and the reflections, and then the sky, and a little bit of a red. Yeah, there you can see that there's another example of a lorry going by and just potentially destroying the shot. So fingers are very much crossed for this, because I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time to grab this shot. Right, still no direct light, so then there's still nothing on the bookleted veg, so I don't know what's happening with the sun. I can't actually quite see the eastern horizon, so it's difficult to determine whether the sun's up or not. I do think it's around about that time when the sun should have been above the horizon, and unfortunately it does look as though we're losing the intensity in the clouds. But with the absence of any direct light on the mountain, I'm thinking, yeah, we might have a bank of cloud somewhere that's blocking the direct light. While I'm waiting though, let me just give you a little bit of advice if you're going to come here, because it's not a location that a lot of people shoot, but two safety things if you're going to try and replicate this shot. The first one is you've got to walk for about 500 yards along the busy A82 road, so just be very careful there, because there was lorries and cars whizzing past me in the dark, which was a little bit iffy at times. And the other thing is bring a walking pole. This is a particularly boggy area. The ground underfoot is very, very soft, and some of these little pools and streams that are running around are actually deceptively deep, and I've been using the pole mainly as a kind of balance thing, but also to gauge the depth of water before I go anywhere near standing in it, because it is very, very deep. Yeah, it was round about now I realised that we were starting to get some whites in the clouds, and that's usually a good sign that the sun is up and the colours are going to start to fade. So unfortunately it didn't look like we were going to get the blood red sunrise that I was after, and behind me down in the glen there was still no sign of any direct light, which again made me think that we definitely had a bank of cloud somewhere on the eastern horizon which was blocking the direct light. I'm having to bracket these, as you might imagine. I'm shooting at 100 ISO f/18 to maximise my depth of field, and I'm taking two exposures. I'm shooting for the foreground and another one for the brighter sky, because the dynamic range is fairly huge. And what I'll probably do is I'll use the sky exposure as my base exposure, and then blend in the details into the darkness. That's a lot easier than trying to paint in a darker sky, because I think that looks quite fake. I think this might be my composition for that particular direction. Again, you've got the reeds and the long grass and the Lochan, you've got the mountain there, you've got a little bit of colour in the background, and hopefully once we start getting some direct light on that, then that should give it a little bit of texture, a bit of definition. Right, a slight change of plan. We do now have some light coming through on these clouds here, but I really like these clouds and the patterns, and more importantly the way they're reflected in the Lochan down there. So what I've done is I've flipped the camera over into portrait orientation so that I can include these reflections, these long grasses, the colour here, and the side of the mountain and some of the clouds in the sky. Still shooting at 16mm on the 16-35mm lens, so I'm as wide as I can possibly go. And again, as before, it is literally just a case of waiting to see if we do get any beautiful colour. Oh, and I've just noticed we've got the first little hint of alpine glow on the top of Buccolitive Beg, so I'm going to quickly change composition and see if we can do something with that in this reflection. Yeah, I'm not really sure that worked. We do still have some light on the mountain behind, which you can probably see just along here at the ridge, but it's not really doing what I'd hoped it would do, and we certainly don't have anything in this direction now, and obviously the number of cars and lorries that are starting to make their way along the road is going to make any further shots in that direction pretty much impossible. So what I'm going to do is try and make the most of that little bit of light that we have left on the ridge, and I'm going to cross back over this pool and shoot using this same, what was intended as a leading line. I'll use that but looking the other way and see if I can get onto that little grassy area there and shoot along that, but this time towards there, because there is a little bit of light starting to show and that's being reflected in the Lochan. So I need to move quickly, but that looks like that might be the next shot. Okay, I've come round to the other side of that pool just as the light is about to break through behind me, and as you can see we've got some nice light on the base of the mountain now. We still don't have any light in the foreground, and the top is obscured a little bit, but we have some lovely mist down in the Larrig there, and the light is just starting to hit the Three Sisters as well. So I'm kind of hoping that if we can get just a little bit of light on the summit, then that will be reflected here. I've selected this particular location because, as you can see, they've got just a little bit of separation between this near shore and the reflection of the mountain, and that's given it a little bit of definition. I can't really go any further out because I am right on the edge of the Lochan, and it looks fairly deep and extremely kind of swampy down there, so I'm not really going to attempt that. So I'm now literally just waiting to see if the light improves any, because it would look a lot better, I think, if we had some light on the summit and a reflection of that light down here. But that's not a bad way to spend the morning, eh? Yeah, and just like that, the light is gone. So we never did get the light on the summit or the reflection, but we've now lost the light along the base as well. It actually looks as though it's starting to cloud over. So what I've been doing now is I've thrown the 70 to 300mm lens on, and I'm picking out details like just the way the mist is pouring over the ridge here, and up on MkIII Moor as well, the way the light's hitting the mist as it sweeps over the summit of Stub Dearg. So I'm reduced to that now. Still good fun though. I'm still up in Glencoe, and I've come to a location that I have never shot before in my entire life. One that apparently is a bit of a honeypot location, but I just never shot it before. But I've stopped today. Sorry, the midges are driving me mental. I've stopped today because we have some absolutely stunning light in the background on the Three Sisters. And as you can see, I'm at the lone tree. And the reason I've stopped today is because the tree itself has got these beautiful red berries on, and I want to try and make something of that while also trying to include this dramatic light on the mountains in the background. Now I'm having to work quick because, yeah, the midges, but also the light's kind of coming and going quite a bit. My only real problem is going to be the main roads here. So I may suffer from cars going by, which is about to happen, and also the main car park down there, there's some very obvious caravans, so they're going to need cloned out. But yeah, it's a nice shot, and the star of the show, apart from the tree, is this amazing light in the background. So I'm just going to put my MkIII mask on for a second, and we'll get shooting. Yeah, I really wasn't having much luck with the light today. By the time I got my MkIII mask on, the light had faded and it didn't return. Thankfully I did manage to grab one shot before I had to resort to putting the mask on in the first place. So this is it, but I'm not overly happy with the composition. So what I decided to do was hang back, and even though we didn't have the light anymore, was just to work the area and try and find a better composition. Yeah, I'm not sure if the midges can get through this, or whether I've managed to trap a couple of hundred underneath the mask, but I've still been eaten alive. This is incredibly bad. We've got some beautiful light on the ridge and the background. Unfortunately nothing on the Three Sisters yet, but I'm hoping that light is going to make its way over here. We've got just a little patch on the ridge there, and that'll allow us to get a nice shot. Alternatively, if the background remains quite gloomy like that, it'd be great if we could get some light here on the foreground, on the trees. I should probably point out I've only actually ever seen one shot from here. Apparently it's a very popular location. I don't really know if there's one that everybody gets, but this is the view that got my attention. I've come in close enough so that the end of the tree, there's a bit of separation between it and the distant mountains, and we're using these little rapids here as a kind of foreground. So something like that. As you can see, if you go a little bit too further out, you get some overlap between the tree and the mountain, and I don't like that. So I've come over, got the separation, and gone quite wide so that we're including these rapids, the tree, the Three Sisters. That probably is the most cliched shot, but as I say, I've never shot it before, and I don't really know what everybody goes for. What I have noticed is, though, we've got these beautiful, they look like some kind of daisy along the side here. There's some right here in the foreground, And I'm going to try and work with that, because that's quite a nice colour contrast, isn't it? You've got the yellow and green, the beautiful red, there's still some purple in the heather, and then if we get some golden light on the mountains as well, then that's a nice shot. Look at my hand. They've now worked their way up the inside of my jacket sleeve, so they're eating my arms now. This is horrendous. Yeah, I took a shot kind of like that. I'm really not convinced it's an award winner, and to be brutally honest with you, with this mask on, I'm really not even convinced it's in focus. I can't see a thing. This is incredibly bad. Yeah, I'm guessing this kind of shot is the one that everybody goes for, because I can see why you would go for this. That is just a bonus, I think, because I don't imagine that's always there and it's not always in bloom. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that direct light back again, and it's clouded over quite a bit, and I think I just felt the first spot of rain, which might be a welcome relief from these midges, but it means I'm not going to get any more dramatic light on those mountains, which is a shame. So that's us for another video. I've had to call it a day. I was being eaten alive. I had to take refuge in the car. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a little thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to go and subscribe to my newsletter as well. I'll leave a link in the description below. So yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, hopefully with less midges. Cheers, bye.